Retreat. We are so excited to have you. This is a special recording of the podcast. We are talking about health. We are all business women. We actually all went on a retreat together last November, and that retreat's coming up again in November of 2025. But we're gathered together because the theme this year, we're going to have a sub theme. The theme of the retreat is always women who work and worship. We get away for time for restoration, to be restored, to just kind of decompress, prepare for the holidays, to be joyful and anticipatory instead of heavy. And we also prepare for the new year. And while we will still do that, this year, our third annual retreat, we're going to spend more time focused on health in all of the different areas, our physical health, our spiritual health, our emotional health. And these beautiful ladies I have with me this evening are so gifted and so passionate about different areas of health and helping women to experience greater sense of abundance and joy and physical well-being in their lives so they can live their best life. And so you're going to get to hear from them this evening. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over. Lori's going to kick us off, and then I'm going to ask Rita to go, and then Eloise will come up with our third spot, and then I'll wrap us up at the end. But you're going to want to lean in. They're going to introduce themselves to you, and they're going to share a part of their story and how they're passionate about a certain area of health and wellness. So, Lori, I'm kicking it off to you.
Well, thank you, Gail, and thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to be on your podcast today. I really appreciate that. So, my name is Lori Froehlich. I am a HCA registered health coach. I got my certificate from the Institute of Integrative Nutrition, as well as my gut health certificate. So, I know a lot about gut health. And what made me get into health coaching was really my mother. But before that, I had my own health issues that stemmed from a lot of inflammation, digestive issues, chronic infections. I had a long list of symptoms that I had, and I'd go to the doctor, and they'd give me a prescription, and I'd take the prescription, and if a month or so later, I was having the same problems, and I finally just said, I need a solution to this problem. I wanted to know the root cause because I knew there was something better than what I was getting. And I went to different doctors. One told me there was nothing wrong with me. Another one told me, I just have to live with it. So eventually I just got totally frustrated and gave up and did live with those symptoms for many years until I went to see a naturopath who helped me get to the root cause of my problems. And with some simple diet and lifestyle changes, I was able to reverse all those symptoms. And I'm happy to say that as long as I listen to my body and what it's doing, I am symptom free. I can honestly say that our bodies are made to heal themselves. God's given all of our bodies what it needs to do that if we give it what it needs to repair itself, right? You don't repair a house with rotten wood, really. So, but then it's when my mom came down with stage 4 cancer that I really dove into nutrition and realized how important nutrition is, even in reversing diseases like cancer and preventing diseases like cancer. So that's when I decided to be a health coach and realized, maybe other people don't realize how important nutrition is either. Right? So I help women easily identify and overcome candida because that's what I had. That's what my mom had. I can see in the past years, even when she was younger, because our gut is linked to everything. Health starts in our gut. It's 80% of our immune system is in our gut. And my mom never had her root issues dealt with. And I can see how her symptoms over the years could have led up to her stage 4 cancer because she never ever got the root cause treated. And that broke my heart. It just did, because I know that she'd maybe still be here today if the root cause had been dealt with when she was in her early 30s.
Lori, tell everybody what candida is.
Well, candida is yeast in our body, but we all have it. But it can become overgrown and out of control and overtake our microbiome through a high sugar diet, processed foods, NSAIDs like Tylenol and ibuprofen, things that cause inflammation, or even gluten and dairy. There's a lot of factors, just environmental factors, even chlorine in our water, things that damage our gut lining and cause inflammation. But sugar feeds candida, and if you're having problems, if you think that, if you can do anything for yourself, cut back on sugar.
Yeah. Amen.
So when Gail had her retreat and was sending out invitations to it, did I tell you where I was from? I'm from Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, and I'm in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So this retreat's in the US, and
Okay.
it was, a lot more for me to go than the gals in the US. So don't let that stop you, because it's a wonderful retreat to go to. And what I loved about it the most, well, not even the most, but that spoke to me, was the meals were all healthy meals. They were all whole food, nutritious, God-made meals.
Mm.
So if we could just eat what God made instead of what man made, we would make a big difference in how we feel.
So true. So true. I just read something recently that said if you would just prepare your own food, and eat and get in the habit of doing that, you'll be amazed how much better you feel. We don't realize how much our eating out or the processed food. Well, Lori, thank you so much. So appreciate you. And you have been a blessing to me. And I know so many women helping. I like to tell Lori that she's like she's a whisperer, gets you to understand your body. Like she helps you um, hear your body whispering to you. And she's really taught me that. So I'm so grateful for her. All right, Miss Rita, you are up.
Awesome. Thank you for including me. I feel like this is a panel of rock stars. So I will try to
And you fit right in. You fit
to
right in,
fit
rock
in.
star.
Yes, ma'am. So I'm Rita Marty. I live in Austin, Texas. Blended family, 4 kids. The oldest two just turned 21. So that there's that. And yeah, so I am in a season of rest, honestly. I left my corporate job at the end of last year. And because God is very intentional and I don't believe in coincidence from Him,
Mhm.
I actually attended the retreat last November, and it was days after I had resigned from my position. I was an executive VP, well into the six figures is what I was making, and I was miserable. I was surrounded by a bunch of toxic, just things. And that had been going on for a couple of years. And if I back up the clock to that, 2 years prior, I really felt the need to get closer to God. And that's, Gail, when you and I met, really. And again, not a coincidence, very much intentional. And I started getting into his word a ton, and I started journaling. I'm just a nerd by nature. And so I like reading, I like studying, I like journaling. And his message to me was very clear at that time. And it was, one, I want you to humble yourself. So basically, the identity that I had in my career, even 2 years ago, there was issues with that. And he was trying to expose that for me. So he said, humble yourself and spread joy.
Mm.
And I thought, okay, God, like, how am I going to do that? But thanks for the tip, right? So I continue to stay in that job and do what I do. Resigned right before the retreat last year. I was forced to enter that season of rest. I actually was doing a Bible study that led to a quiz on rest. I completed the quiz and I was deficient in every area of rest that you can imagine. So it's not just physical rest, it's the emotional, it's the spiritual, it's playful rest, even. I had like 0 in that level. I wasn't playing, and so it really was eye opening. But the retreat for me was the catalyst to go, God, you've stopped it all for me, and I am going to be forced to be in a season of rest. But what he continued to show me is there's strength in rest.
Mhm.
I had never thought about it like that until I did. And so again, that big push of humility and joy spreading. And at that time, too, I didn't make a lot of room for social media. And as Gail, you remind us all, it's a tool. It's a tool in the toolkit. So I didn't love it, didn't hate it, just wasn't really a part of it. And I felt that call from God to go, you need to show up, just be authentic, and spread that joy that I need you to spread.
Mm.
And I thought, well, everybody knows the trip to Hawaii brings joy. Okay, so I don't have a lot of trips to Hawaii planned, two kids in college. But I thought, God, you just want me to share those little bits of joy in my day, whether that's the wave from my neighbor who I'm walking by, taking my walk in the morning, or somebody says a kind thing to me when I'm in the grocery store line. Like, what is that? Like that is joy.
Yeah.
And so I turned that on one day, and very involved with, and now we'll make it, I'm dedicated to having a daily post on Instagram and Facebook of what my joy was that day. And so it starts out today, I found joy in this.
Yep.
So I
And if
just,
you haven't been following, by the way, you're going to find contact information for all these ladies because you're going to want to contact them because they're so amazing. But follow Rita with her joy post every day. It will bring you joy. So yeah. Sorry for
I
interrupting.
hope so. No, no, no. And of course, my 14-year-old teases me. He's like, Mom, your Instagram handle is joy is my superpower. And I'm like, yes, yep, joy is my superpower, son. And it comes from the Lord. So I take no credit for it at all. But I've been called to do that. So just trying to be obedient, really. And I know that there's big purpose in it. And that's where my passion lies, really, is to show women that there is joy in the ordinary. It's there. And if you just switch that mindset, for a while there it was gratitude journal. Before you go to bed, write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And it's similar in that thinking, except God was very specific to me in this joy. What is the joy in that day? And it stems from him. And I believe that it stems from my season of rest. Had I not been forced to rest, this wouldn't exist. So
He's so good. I love it. I love
always.
it. And that rest assessment, we're going to do the rest assessment at the retreat, right? Something to do with that. We're going to take that assessment. That's going to
Yes,
be a
ma'am.
great eye opener. Very good. I'm excited about that.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, Miss Eloise.
Hi there. Thank you so much for inviting me to be part of this podcast. This will be a first for me, so I'm very excited about it. But I'm also so thankful that my sister-in-law introduced me to your podcast, Gail. And that is how I found you and found the retreat. I wanted to let you know that I actually am a clinical laboratory scientist. I work at a veterans hospital, and I love, healthcare and what we do to help veterans. However, I'm very passionate about prevention. I don't want to see people ending up in a hospital. So my passion is just helping people with prevention. I have a health and wellness business as a side business, and I'm very excited to share that with people because I've also become a health coach, just as Lori had said, trying to learn root causes. I've struggled with weight most of my adult life. So to counteract that, I was over exercising. And I mean, people who knew me, I would not take a day off, was a runner for 40 years. And that lifestyle led to injuries, just trying to keep the weight off. And I would exercise more, eat less. And my mom used to say, you should be thin by now. And it just wasn't working for me. Yeah, I know. Way to say what you think, Mom.
She was telling it like it is.
She was. And it was a wake-up call because she would say it all the time. And so I thought, just like Lori, I actually did the same program she did, but it really was an eye-opener, and everyone's created differently. And so the directions and instructions that were given by health professionals to me were pretty much the directions they give to everyone. And so I'm passionate about helping people meet them where they are, figure out what's worked and what hasn't worked for them. And then as I've learned, I've been able to feel better, more energy, and I feel better than I did, I don't know, 15 years ago. So now I live a very fast-paced life.
Yeah.
So I just turned 56. I have 4 grown children. They're 25, 28, 29, and 30. I have a grandson who is almost 1 year old. He'll be 1 year old next week.
Adorable.
And so just I thought when I became an empty nester that things would slow down. However, now God just has shown me where He wants me to serve others. Now that I do, I've just this newfound energy and just vitality and excitement for life.
Yeah.
So, but then the downside is that I don't rest much. And so, Gail, when I saw your advertising of the retreat last year, I just knew, like, my heart started racing. I've never done anything like that before, but when I saw the ad, I thought, how am I going to get there? And it really spoke to me. I thought, if I don't remove myself from the very fast pace because I don't know how to slow down, it would be a very hard season to go into the holidays without just getting a break. So God made the way for me to go to Texas and meet these lovely ladies, and each of them had spoken into my life. Like Lori said, because I'm very interested in health and helping people nourish their bodies, that they cooked homemade meals every day and had many options for people, no matter what the health or the way you eat. I loved that. And they had refrigerators if you brought your own food. It was just really amazing. And then enough open space to be able to just get your walk in and exercise, but yet relaxing.
Yeah.
Like, just, I can't explain. It was just so beautiful. And in fact, my husband had called one night and he said, well, what are you doing now? And I was like, nothing.
He's like, what? You doing nothing?
And it was almost hard to say out loud. I thought, wow, I'm doing nothing. And it just feels so amazing. So for anyone who's never done nothing, I highly recommend it. And I didn't feel guilty about it.
Right.
That was the thing. When I'm at home and I'm not doing something, it's not a God thing. It's like I'm always busy. And so it's hard to not be doing something. But what I really loved about being there with the whole group was we were all relaxing. We were all fellowshipping, sharing, and it was good. It felt really, really lovely. And I just look forward to it again. I signed up. I said, Gail, when are you doing this again? Because I want to be there, and I look forward to it. And I just loved learning actually from each other, because in my busy life, I have schedules, and then I have and I don't slow down because I also always go salsa dancing on my downtime. So that is pretty like stress reliever for me, but it's not rest.
Yeah.
So that's what I loved about being away with you guys, and just so thankful that God put you guys in my path, because I did not know how much I needed it. So thank you for organizing it. Thank all of you for being there. It was wonderful. Really, really wonderful.
Well, thank you so much. You guys, this has been beautiful. And there's so many things I want to say. I think I'm going to try to do, there's going to be information about the retreat down in the show notes. There's an early bird special till the end of May. If you're interested, make sure you read about it and take it. It's a very, very special place. It's actually a very sacred place. There is the healing presence there that's profound. The woman who founded it, Catherine Lee, she actually is a very successful entrepreneur with the company Juice Plus, but she started a nonprofit for rehabilitating young women who'd been trafficked. And we have the privilege of watching and hearing the testimonies, the redemption, God's redeeming power right in front of us, is restoration, as we hear these testimonials from these beautiful young women. So not only did she create the nonprofit, she created a for-profit business to fund the nonprofit, to help fund it. And that's the retreat location. So the retreat is, I don't take any monies, anything that we have. So it's called a not for profit retreat, because if there's any monies left over, a few $100s or something like that, that goes back to the ranch for the women. So it is really just there for us to, I said to the women before we started, when we prayed, that, we live in a time when we wake up on high alert. Our bodies are on high alert. What do I need to get done today? How am I going to get it done? When am I going to get it done? Where do I need to go? Right? Our cortisol levels are high. We're constantly processing and thinking. I think that the statistic is there's 35,000 micro decisions we make every day. And when we go to sleep, and that's when we rest, if we're lucky, to have a full night's sleep. And so being able to get away, I mean, Jesus showed us this, right? He showed us we need to remove ourselves from the normal place and move, because when we do that, we're set apart and God can really speak to us, and healing and restoration can really come. We can find that joy. We can find that space that says, you know what, I do want to nourish my body, and we do that in fellowship with each other. So it's just really a profound, beautiful time. I've got some emails that are going to go out, and one of them it talks about, so I won't tell it here, but a story when my boys were really little. And had an opportunity to go on a retreat, and I felt so guilty. It's like, how can I leave my family? And so I won't share anymore, but that ultimately the decision to go and be responsible for my self-care ended up being a really life-changing moment for me. And I long to invite other women into that because we need it, as you've heard everybody share. So I pray this was a wonderful blessing to you. I know each of these ladies personally, and I'm telling you, connecting with them will be a great gift to you. So make sure you, like I said, there'll be a way for you to connect with them in the show notes below. The retreat link will be there. And if you ever have any questions, just message any of us because we'd be happy to answer them. So have a beautiful rest of your day or evening whenever you're listening or watching. And thank you so much for being here with us.